Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So this is video number 2 in the Roxy Journal of Stitchery Volume 9 series, and the new series is all about little books, Textile Tales. So to kick it all off, the first video was some of my inspiration. I gathered together 6 piles of books that have inspired me in some way, and one of those piles is children's books, and I had some of my favorite children's books as I was growing up. So the other part of this project for me is I'm going to embellish this house. This is a flat pack children's doll house from Spotlight. I spoke a little bit about it in the first video. I've been using it to store random books. I like the aesthetics of it, and I like the fact that it holds some of my little itty bitty journals that I've made over time, my needle books here, just a spot to, you know, shove things. Half done projects are sitting here. That's a Nikki Franklin stitchery I need to complete to finish that. And some little special books that I've got from family inheritances. So just excuse the mess everywhere. I'm pretty much creating piles through my whole craft room of videos that I wish to do in the coming future. Heaps and heaps of work ahead of me. I've got to not only get back into Botanical Beauties, where we do a flower a month. I need a February flower for that. When I got back from my holidays, there were 2 new Tim Holtz fabric packs here. So those colour palettes may inspire something for the next flower. So I've got that sitting to one side. February is coming up real fast. I've got my postcards from Italy sitting here, along with my postcard keeper that I made when I got back from France. So I plan to do a project with that. Not to mention using pieces that I started in Italy and never found a home for. I want to do a few of those types of projects. So, and gosh, pouches. Oh my goodness, could embellish pouches until the cows come home. But anyway, enough about my workload in front of me. So I'm also just started filming a series where I go through all the lace I got from Italy and pull out some of those treasures and put them into a sampler book so that they're safe. Otherwise, they're just going to end up in the abyss that is my room. So stay tuned. Lots and lots of videos coming for us for the next few months. That'll keep me busy. But this one, let's kick off the Roxy Journal of Stitchery videos. I've missed January to some degree, but I did do a journal through January, and it was a travel journal. So I feel like I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball, but I'm sure I'll catch up fast. So let's take a seat at my desk where I've been slinging things for the last 3 days in the background, thinking about better get a video going for the Roxy project. So this is going to be my first book. I shall pull it out, take it to the desk and show you my idea. See you in a moment. Okay, back at my desk. As I mentioned, out of the volume, episode 1, where I went through 6 different piles of books that are sort of floating around in my head for inspiration, my children's books that I grew up with the fondest of memories for various reasons, not so much the tale, more the imagery in this particular little book. It was like it was a puppet book for me. So, and technically I think it was my brother's. Yeah, it was my brother's, but I really did enjoy looking at the visual content of this little book. One of my favorites, you know, the pussycat that gets lost and goes on an adventure, Charlie, and the little red hen. Oh, I used to love this girl. She was a hard-working girl, and no one would help her. But when those cakes came out of the oven, suddenly everyone was interested in having them. So I really love the fact that this is like a sketchy sort of, you can see the black pen that is overlaying over the imagery. I just think it's such a beautiful little book. Great story. And of course, the bear, told by his wife, do not go out and chase honey because you'll get into trouble. But no, he does. Ends up being stung on the nose, thinks he's smart and hides, but of course the nose is out of the water and he is stung. And to make good with his his lady bear, he brings a fish home. So it's just a great story. And of course, all things are okay because she's patched him up, and he's got to eat his fish too. Just beautiful books. I think what's drawn me to these in this is the aesthetics of it, the sketchiness of them. Bar that one, that's a puppet type book. So that's how they ended up in a pile, and they're going to be my first kickoff for inspiration. While I was away traveling, I did create a book, which was my tour of Italy book. So I guess it could be number one. I did look around occasionally in Italy for a children's book or just a young adult's book of a girl traveling through Italy, but didn't find anything. There were heaps online where I saw that it was a theme, a young girl visiting Italy, and they were very bright, colourful, sketchy sorts of books. So I'm sort of going to half call this book number one for the series. Not only was I travelling with the Roxy girls, but it sort of is a bit of a theme out there for books. And even if you're in a hotel or an apartment and, you know, those travel guides of what to do in the area, and you have a bit of a flip through them and go, yep, we could do that, we could do that. It sort of is encapsulating different things that I did through my travels. Now, I did show this on a previous video. And there's this sketching element that's done by Rachel's husband, who's an architect of Venice. So we all had a little play with sketching on fabrics over Christmas, and I end up doing a few myself and working them into my pages. Now, in some of the comments, people were asking me how I did this. How did I make it permanent? My very leaning Tower of Pisa, very, very leaning. They have reinforced the base, they tell me, so it's never going to get to that degree, but it's very leaning. The sketching process, I just wanted to go through that with you guys first because I think it will appear in my books going forward. And I just thought these are the pens that I took with me, and I'd quickly show you what I did so that if you too wanted to have a go at sketching a memory or an image into your work, this is how I did it. The first thing I found was the best thing to use was a very tightly woven fabric, preferably cotton or linen. Linen tends to be a little bit loose. It makes it easier for the pen to glide. So when Steffi was sketching this, the pen nibs were catching on those threads because it's quite a raised weave. So keep that in mind. And when he said that, I wasn't at the stage of drawing. I was stitching a page. I thought to myself, well, I better keep my eyes open for something that's a little bit denser. And that's how this fabric came to be. It's a cotton and the thread count is a little bit finer. And it was really easy for my pen to sketch over. So I'm glad Steffi made that comment in amongst it all because that it made sense. You could actually hear the nib of the pen catching on the fabric as he was sketching. And when you're sketching, often they're big, loose, well, little loose, they're loose strokes of the pen. It's not a distinct draw. For me, it's more of a sketchy thing. So what did I do to do it? Well, the first thing I did was use my ink erasable, heat erasable pen. It's a friction pen, readily available everywhere. You can buy them in packs of colours. I use them all the time. So if you've been around a while with me, you would have seen me use these regularly. And what I did was, we need a bit of inspiration. We might just use Bunny here. Is I just sketched him out, just using my pen, kept it very loose to build up whatever image it was, whether it's a bunny or a building. I'm concentrating, so my dialogue's going to cease for a moment. So the good thing about this pen was it can be erased if you find that your sketch goes a bit wacky, like you're not happy with the shape of something. You can build up, once you feel like you've got a line correct. You can build up on it. And at the end of the day, if something goes pear-shaped, you can easily just iron it out. So that's what I did with all of these sketches. Has he got a pointy nose? I don't know. Have we run out of fabric? No. A few little whiskers. And then a bit of an eye. So if you're happy with that, let's say we are. It's a bit funny around his neck and head there, but anyway. It's got the general gist of a bunny. Iron it out. If you hate him, have another go. Have another go until you're happy with what you've got. Now, these are 2 pens that I threw in. This first one is a permanent pigment pen, resistant to water. I use this all the time when I'm drawing over my watercolors. So I tend to do a watercolor. I love the fact that it's very fluid and quick and it's done, but then I always feel at the end of my watercolors that I'm lacking more entertainment. So I find I often pick up a black pen and then sketch over the top of it. So it gives you 2 mediums in the one. And this is part of a little series of pens that are all different size nibs on them. And as I flew out the door on the holiday, I grabbed it and put it in my travel kit as I sort of thought I might do a bit of sketching. Now, in my handbag was this pen, and I use that for, you know, when I'm traveling and you need a black pen. So both of these pens were used in this book, and they both worked quite well. Both permanents. That's a 0.8 nib, and that's a 0.2. So let's just have a look at those nibs. I am getting to my project, so bear with me. I'm just trying to answer a heap of questions that were in the comments for the last couple videos. So there you go. 0.8 is the thicker one. 0.2 is the finer one. So what I did then, I had my house or my whatever it was, is I went to my permanent pens and then just sketched in the bunny again. And if I wanted him to be a little bit more sketchy, fluid and not as solid, it gives you that second chance to redo your design. Now you can then come back and iron out the sketch underneath, because that's your heat soluble pen, or not. And in most cases I didn't, because it gives it a bit of a what's the word, a shaded look. See on his ear there, that's the heat soluble pen there, and then over the top is this dark distinctive pen. Now that line and that line didn't meet, but there's the line of the ink heat erasable pen underneath, so it really helps your piece become quite sketchy. So that's what I did with the buildings. I didn't iron them again to get rid of that original sketch. I left them. If there was something I really hated, of course, you know, iron it. But to be honest, I sort of had to go with what I did in the first place because I didn't have access to an iron. So just thought I'd mention that. It might be something you want to do in your little books going forward. Another question I got was, did you stitch this? I did. Pretty sure I did say that in the video, but when I was with Rachel, I went through her stamps and stamped a heap of little critters. And in the case of the cover, using one strand of stranded cotton, I stitched over the little squirrel, and that helped me bring a chocolate brown into it. I did use a chocolate brown in the actual stamp itself, but that sort of helped me get that slow stitched look for my cover. So just thought I'd answer that question. I might just leave these around because I might end up using them through this series as well. So now, okay, drum roll. The first official book in the Textile Tales series is going to be this. So before I left, I spotted this for sale on eBay, and it was an auction. No one was bidding on it, and I threw in a bid, the minimum bid, which was, I think, $12 or something. It wasn't much, and I thought, well, if I get it, I get it. I then forgot about it, and when I got home, the parcel was waiting for me, and this was inside. So, yay, I got it. The the size of the book I really like, and it fits in that little pocket within the little house. So this is going to be my format for all my books. Now, if you remember, I had this dragged out as inspiration connected to Jennifer Clouston. So it too is the right height, but it is lacking in size. So I've been thinking about extending this to make it fit, and this possibly will pop up in a later month where we work on, a book inspired by Jennifer Clouston, which was one of the 6 piles that I had. I can't remember all the piles. They're sitting over in my bookcase. I think William Morris was in there, children's books, still lives, all sorts of things. So, yeah, we'll get to that. We've got plenty of time. So, back to this. This is a very old, printed roughly in the 1950s in the USA, a children's textile storybook. So when I unpacked it, it had a very distinct smell of peanut butter. So in the process of washing all my treasures from Italy, this too went in for a swim and took a while to dry, but I've just pressed it and it's great. It hasn't lost its patina. And look at the scribble that a little person has done there. Look at that. Oh, bless you. So my thoughts are I will Corinify this little book. I had one as a kid, I recall, but for the life of me, I cannot find it. It's probably just didn't make it. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, I must have been just still thinking about the bear and the little red hen and children's books. And of course, this feels very childlike to me. I'm thinking, it just came to me. Anyway, to make this work, the pages are very thin. See that there? They open up and they're just very thin, poor quality, if I do say so, muslin. I'm thinking it is, with the print on top. I was pleased that the ink didn't run. I guess they've thought about mums wanting to wash these little books, so they had to be serviceable. So I've been percolating on it overnight, and I come up with the idea that because I can get my hand through and they're not sealed, I've started cutting down wadding to slide in between. So that will allow me to get my needle in there and play on each page and not come through to the other side. So that's the plan. I think I only need the one piece of wadding. But if it becomes tricky and I keep sliding the needle through, I could always, slide in another one. So the jury's out on that. So I started. As I was ironing it, I was cutting little pieces of this batting. Now this batting is my standard go-to that I use on all my projects. It's a cotton polyester blend. The polyester is the secret ingredient because, technology helps threads along, they say. The polyester stops this warping as much as a cotton batting. I do love cotton battings in quilts, especially in my climate. But for craft, I've sort of gone with this polyester one mix so that it's quite stable. Now that needs a little bit more trimmed off of it, I think. Let me just ease it in. Yeah. So that's the plan. I don't know how I'm going to embellish these pages. I don't want to lose the aesthetics of the gorgeous little book either, but let's drag the little book into the slow stitch world. Yeah, that fits. So the first thing is make it usable in our little world. And this is what I've come up with so far. And I'm pretty sure it will work. I don't think it'll make the book too chunky. If anything, it's going to make it feel even more lush. So there you go. I'm filming this on Sunday. So I'm not sure when you guys will see it, probably Monday, if not Sunday night. I have to check my schedule to see what videos I had pre-recorded, but I am running out of them. I think Monday there's a mouse house video again, the chateau. But I am getting to the end of my pre-recorded. So you're catching up. I'm catching up with you guys in real time. I did wake to see the flooding in Rockhampton. So my heart goes out to the gangs that live up in Rockhampton, all of you girls that are up there stitching. I'm hoping you're high and dry because it's going to be a big one. Some of the images coming in this morning, oh my goodness. And there's so much more rain coming. Bless Queensland. There you go. There's our little book. I'm thinking that's going to work a treat. My first thought is to stitch around the outer edge with a running stitch just to sandwich everything together. But we might have a play with a page and see if my threads are going to go through before I do that, because like I said, I've got one spare. It might be a case it needs a little bit more wadding. I don't think so, because I used this on the Just Because quilt and I stitched one side, flipped that quilt over and then added more fabrics and things and stitched you know, on the reverse of it. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be all right. Let's start with the cover. So my first thought, gee, they're a bit cheap, weren't they? Just use the same image printed twice. I could have given the kids another picture. My first thought is, what can I embellish with stitch? Pretty much these little animals could have lots of little stitches. The little lammy, I'd probably do little French knots, colonial knots to create the texture of a lamb. Those daisies are perfect for stitching. There is a bit of a yellow space in the back there. I'd possibly build more flowers through there. So maybe, now sitting beside me, before I get ahead of myself and just start pulling at things, I've got a couple things that I've slung to one side here for this project, and that is strawberries. I've got a bit of a strawberry thing at the moment. So I've got another little embroidery. Rachel was kind enough to sling me a few strawberry embroideries. So that is kicking around, and I thought maybe there's a page here that strawberries would fit as a bit of a, see, that's a great space there, but they're on a mat, they're chewing mum's slipper. So we could do with some outside scenes for strawberries. I like that pink, that matches it. I need scissors that cut fabric easily. I have jiggered these scissors, guys. Cutting paddle pop sticks for the mouse house has jiggered them. So I need to go and buy another set of those. Oh my goodness, the things we do. So what I might do is I'm just going to whiz through the pages, going through my pile of treasures here, and throw down a few little bits and pieces. Nothing will be set in stone. Things could change. I really don't know how I'm approaching this project because I don't want to lose the text and I don't want to lose the gist of the story. So I wouldn't be covering up the grasshopper. So that means I need to look at what space is available in amongst all these pictures. I also need to have a look at the colour palette and what I have in my stash of embroideries and laces and scrappy bits of fabric that complement the page. I don't want to have it looking jarring. I want it to look like this is complementary, I guess. Is that the word? Like if you were to go into the shop that sold these, you could buy this one for the kids and the second one would be embellished for the adults. That's my thoughts. I think you complement this page. I can afford to lose the grass. I don't think it fits there. I didn't bring my pins. Of course I didn't bring my pins. I also need to turn on the air conditioning. Thanks, Queensland. We're up for a very hot Sunday and there's storms already percolating to the west of me and rolling in, and there's a big red arrow on all the maps pointing directly at me and I can feel it. Even if I look out the window, there's already grey clumps building, and it's like 7:30 in the morning. So we're in for a big day. So anyway, sidetracked very easily. I'm going to pause the video, go get my pins, and put the air on because I'm already getting hot. Back in a moment, guys. Okay, I'm back. I have my pins and my needle, and I'm just sitting here trimming this a little bit more because I'm happy with its position with these kittens. So how will I approach this project? Will I do a page and then flip it and do another page and then flip that? Or just scattergun it, as in jump all over the place? And I think I'm going to do the latter. I don't want to get bogged down in one spot and then sort of lose a little bit of interest and then flip the page and go, oh my goodness, there's heaps and heaps of pages here. Now, this will definitely roll into February because I cannot see this getting finished in time for January, and like I said, I have lost a fair bit of January, but did do a travel journal. So yeah, I think a lot of my books are probably going to merge month by month, as long as we end up with 6 at the end or more. It's not a bad thing. Let's find your home. It was like that. Just thinking I like it more like that. But then we don't see his tail. And I like the idea that we do see the cat's tail, so we will do that. All right. I guess before I get too far ahead of myself, I'm going to have a go at stitching this on. Will I want some more fabric? Most likely. So to the opposite side of me, I have my scrap bins. This scrap bin is a bit of a French-inspired bits and pieces. This scrap bin is anything. My all-over projects are in here. So, and here I've got my trusty basket of lace, which is a bit of everything. I've got embroidery sitting here that I haven't packed away yet, and I thought, well, while they're out, we'll see if some suit this project, and then they can be squared away, and in the process of putting them away I might find some other things. So let's just see if the wadding, is that a thread? No, that's not. If the wadding, where'd my cotton get to? Are you serious? Where's my ball of cotton? Can't you still see I've got the flu? Well, I don't have the flu, but I've got the leftover brain fog of it. Not to mention the jet lag. Gosh, that's a real thing. But having said that, Saturday night was the first night that I slept a normal night. So happy days. See how they're buggered? Look at that. Bloomin' mouse houses. Crazy girl. Let's grab a needle. We don't want a crowbar. There's nothing great in there either. I feel like my room has been turned upside down. It's a washing mill due to all of the textiles being washed. And actually, when I hopped up to turn on the air conditioning, my phone had a message to say that I had a Australia Post parcel coming. So I'm wondering if that's my box of can't fit in suitcase textiles from Italy. That'd be rather cool. Now I'm going to, this is just to see, can this be stitched without going through the other side and ruining the image on the other side? Yeah, I think so. And this is a crowbar. If I had a finer needle, which is somewhere, it would be even easier to control. So I'm going to say that's a yes. Awesome. All right, I might just park that thread. Actually, I'll trim it off because it's going to be on my way. So we're good to go. All right, with that in mind, let's embellish a little bit more this page. Those can be stitched with red thread, and I'm thinking some bullion knots. Pussycat, you'll definitely get some stitches put into you, some ginger threads and some chocolate threads. But I feel like we need a little bit more textiles around. So let's have a look into the scraps. I just found this complementary fabric, matches our leaves. So let's just pop a few little morsels around and see what comes of it. A bit too bright. It's got a real old, washed out look about it. So I need to, oh, I like this. This is a piece of velvet that is a strap off of a needlework that I picked up at the markets, and it's in that box I just told you about. But the needlework's done in the 80s, and it's a Christmassy one. And it was quite cheap, and I thought, you know, that'd be great to cut up letters out of it. It's not historical, it's just one that I probably would have done in the 80s. And the straps on the top of this big needlework, so picture the size of a tea towel. I'll show you when it all arrives, but picture the size of a very large tea towel with the alphabet stitched on it and some Christmas characters. Then they backed it with this velvet, and there were like 4 or 5 straps at the top of it. In the hotel room, just to add to my little pile of fabrics to use in my travels, I pilfered the strap and then put the big piece in the box to send home because it was quite, you know, heavy. So that certainly feels like it would work in this colour palette. We might grab a little bit of that. Just going to fray. Yeah, velvet is one of those things that frays. Do I want to use it? Could get quite messy, couldn't it? I know I can build on it, which would then, I've changed my mind with the placement of that. I'm looking at this grass, and I'm wondering if I build up some grass under the kitten and we lay down some bits of fabric first. Any other greens in my stash, let's just reef in there. This one's a good one. Oh, and gives me flowers. Oh, look at that. Oh. I'm just gonna put these scissors away, girl. Just gonna pull this little picture out. Still life. Now, I mentioned that I was inspired by a book. Oh, what's the gentleman's name now? I've gone blank. Chris Miller, I think. Don't quote me on that. For one of my books, and it's going to be based on flower bombing and also still life. So I need to just start making a little pile of pieces of fabric with a floral arrangement that could be used for that project. So bear with me as I fussy cut out that, put it to one side for a future book. So I guess when you're going through your piles of bits and pieces, keep that in mind too. You've got 6 little books to do. So it's potential you'll come across little elements that may be used in a future book. So I'm just looking at connecting the bottom. Maybe we put some strawberry flowers into here. The strawberry fabric. Is there anything, let me just clear my mess up. How quickly do our desks get into chaos, guys? Seriously. Let's have a look. Is there anything that we could bring in to build on our strawberry theme? Like, I keep looking at that there, but I'm not sold on it. That doesn't do anything for me. Let's have a look at this fabric. Oh, I like that flower. I like this combination here. Maybe let's nibble out around. Is that flower connected to that or this? Let's assume it's connected to this other print. I don't think it is. I think it's part of that. Let's just nibble out this bit. Can't believe I'm doing strawberries again. I've got a real thing for strawberries, I think. They're just gorgeous. I think it's the plant for stitching purposes. Colour palette I just love. But it allows you to play with leaves, flowers and fruit, whether that be, you know, beads and knots. And how can we do this? I think we just need to break it down. I don't think the piece works. Oh, maybe it does. Let's just dissect this bit here. I tend to, when I'm collaging a story together using fabric with imagery on it to suit the story, like a doily or, you know, this type of scenario, I tend to start big and then break it down. I don't go straight in and cut this down into heaps of little pieces, because sometimes what the artist has done before you, as in the arrangement that they've created here, is aesthetically beautiful to start with, and why mess with a good thing? But then if it doesn't fit what you're doing, that's when I go, all right, you're just not working for me. Let's break it down even more. I'm going to get rid of that strawberry because he's lost his tail, and there is enough little strawberries here that I can, you know, play and bring back a strawberry at the end of this little spray, if that's what I want to do. Okay. That, to me, that flower is looking very blobby. It's lost its shape in the process of trimming this out. So possibly that will get cut off. We'll see where it sits on the page. And if it does stay, I'll definitely be thread painting it, as in stitching over it and creating a brand new flower that can be easily seen in the shape that it should be, because at the moment it's such a pale image. Now to me, I still need to cut in there because it's still too chunky, but how will it play with these guys? So if that went under there as the base and then it came up to the kitten is lost, so we need to bring that down, which means that lot get chopped out. I don't want to lose a paw, so that might work better that way. We still see the paw, because remember the rule, we've got to still tell the story, and these guys are belting around a poor old grasshopper, typical cats. I'm going to take that off the bottom there. This is what I mean by keep it chunky until you know you just can't make it work, and then start breaking it down. I'm thinking I need that flower to go too, guys. I can always add it back in because I'm now down to 2 white flowers, so that gives me the opportunity, and 2 strawberries, to come back in and add. Yeah, that's better. Strawberry is going up in the air, which technically, does that happen in real life? I like that little cluster. So let's have a play with these strawberries remaining. We had a big one. I think they're too big. we have a little flower. So there's an opportunity to bring this little fella back. So the first thing I do then is go around and stitch everything down, just with invisible stitches or overcast stitches, just get them all anchored. Let's bring you there. And I think we could do with another strawberry scenario. So let's see if we can do the 3 of them, but I have a feeling I would need to lose that strawberry. And I'm thinking I can slide it in the back here of behind his heel. Like in there. Yep, I like that. Drags the red across. I'm just looking up at my TV now. It's like stepping back from the picture to see what you're doing instead of being right up on it. I think once those there are also stitched, the strawberries make sense. We can still see the grasshopper. The story is still intact. I've got 3 little flowers. Yeah, I think that's a go, guys. Well, let's pin it without going through too many layers. The only other thing I could look at is, do we do something up in the air here? We've got a lot of space there, but one could argue that having that space for the eye to rest is not a bad thing, because we've got so much going on across the body of the piece. Oh, little piggies. Oh, we're going to have some fun on this. And I lost my little flower. Bring you in there. Okay. Maybe the top here we just put a touch of lace. So let's clean up the mess. And pop that to one side. We've got strawberries out of our system. Oh, this I've been carrying around for a while too. Look, what a cool snippet. Anyway, leave it, put it away. Oh, I've got a bee. This I was gifted from Linda at Dewdrop Inn. Now that'd have to join the party somewhere. So let's just fussy cut him out, put him to one side. I'll start creating a little basket of goodies that sort of suit the project too. I tend to do that a bit, sort of a carry tray with elements that fit a project, may or may not end up in the project. And I would say a bee could be a good one. So let's put him to one side. Great scrap of fabric for random embellishing. Just going to square it up a little bit. And then this will get thrown in my neutral pile of fabrics for a rainy day. Just bear with me as I've been in tidy up my room mode for a few days. So that's probably what's going on here a little bit. Lace, let's grab the lace. Just looking for a bit of a morsel that speaks to me. Actually, it doesn't have to be anything in particular. It could just be just a little piece. Let's just take this little piece off, crocheting off. I like the colour palette. Yeah, I like that. Just because. No reason. Made me feel happy. Pin it on, stitch it on. There we go. And I still have a bit of air over here, so I like that. For design elements, we're sort of following a bit of a line here. All right, let's go back to the cover. Let's have a play with this. Now, how are we going for time? Who cares? Just keep going. It can't be rushed, can it? If it is what it is, I'm just rummaging through my scrap fabrics here looking for yellow. And I just found this bit. So I'm wondering if that could be used. Also, let's have a look through these embroideries. I've got a little bird. We'll save him with the bee. That doesn't really suit. That works. It's very big scale. This is from a tablecloth that I picked up in Italy, and I used it on a spread, hence why it's still out on my desk. It seriously is the gift that keeps giving. I like the fact that the grey stem on this flower matches the little lammies. The burnt yellow matches the yellow in the centre. And the fact that it's tall and slender, I'm thinking I could work it in behind maybe a lamb, and it goes up into the blue abyss that's there. I feel like this page will have a fair bit of embroidery on it, as in what I do, because this all through here is just a beautiful opportunity to play, build on these daisies. This is a void that's just open for goodness knows what in the way of embroidery. But we'll see if we can get this little guy worked into it. And being that the colour palette, like how good is that? Even the greens. I haven't yet decided when you're going to see the Journal of Stitchery videos. I need to get my little diary out and lock in a day where that keeps me to a schedule. So I'll put this one up, I think, this afternoon. So Sunday afternoon you'll be getting this. Saturday for you guys in the States. Because I know Monday is a mouse video. And then the rest of the week's open. So it might be a case of I need to get, see how that looks still blocky in there? It's going to be a challenge to get in there. Oh, look, it was upside down the whole time. Seriously. I like the back of it. Like it's got a real messy look. Oops. Very careful. This is a very thick weave and it disintegrates really easily. So I will definitely put a bit of glue under this, as in my art glitter glue, and just go around that edge with a very fine line, which will help stabilize it. My threads will hold it, but I don't know. Sometimes you just need a little bit of an extra fixative because it can fall to bits. Okay. Little deer. Aren't they just the cutest? I'm not digging it, but I'm just not liking it, to be honest. I feel like it overpowers them. The white is jumping out at me. I know I could stitch white into here and help it. I can't make it slide in between them because they've made the imagery very close. This one's a challenge. I don't think that's going to work. Let's go to another page and see if something comes of it. That's inside. Oh, the chickens. Can we do something here with it? Yeah, that's a better use of it. Let's just have another look at some more pages. The goats and the cow. That's my childhood to a T. Little calves drinking out milk. See, we've got yellow daisies here. See that? Maybe we work it into this one. Still does feel like it's overpowering it. and it sort of feels like it's the wrong orientation, to be honest. I'm going to cut this one out. Just bear with me as we fiddle. My colour palette here, I could bring apricot into those little flowers to make this little apricot flower here make sense, or we cut the apricot flower off and it goes elsewhere. Just thinking about other things to do on the page in the way of stitching. There'll definitely be camphor stitch, you know, running stitch. And that helps bring in colour or neutral colours in the way of the thread selection to help with the design element of the page. Once these little flowers find a home on a page, I'll probably put them away, and that'll then force me to look for other embroideries that complement my piece. Otherwise the whole book will look too matchy-matchy. All right, so this little guy I think has a better orientation. Yeah, can still see the hooves. I could take that flower away. I think I will, guys. I'm going to take him off. Another example of create it big and then you can always trim it back. That to me suits more that page. So maybe we do something over here with the goats and apricot tones because we've got these little pink flowers. So let's just pin that for a moment. And as I reach for the pin, this was the next flower that came off. Oh my goodness. Well, we do have a spread here. So we could get away with drifting like imagery of embroideries across the two pages. This video is going to be 3 hours long. I think that's why I'll drift through the whole book on all episodes. I'm not going to just do one page. I think it'll be a bit boring. Some pages come together in, 3 minutes flat. Other pages take 20 minutes of procrastinating. So I think I will make you struggle with me. Going by comments of previous videos, you guys do enjoy watching me nut these things out. See, we've now inherited a little blue flower. Now, back to the goats. It's so big, isn't it? If it came right down into there, and then these little ones became part of the imagery here, because I've got another one here. This little flower that's left in the yellow could go and join the cow. Oh, it's not a cow yet, it's a calf, a baby cow, a poddy. When I grew up, they were called poddies. Okay, I like that. I feel like that helps the design. And this, we're going to bomb this little poor calf with lots of flowers. How do we get that to look like it's coming out of the hill? We manipulate the embroidery. That's how we do it. Okay, pin it. Pin it. And pin it. So as for other areas on these 2 pages, lots of embroidery. And now we need to find some little bits of fabric. I don't think we need him. If he was smaller, I would work him in under the nose of the cow, but I don't want to lose that. I think they're just gorgeous, and I think once that's all stitched, it'll soften it. If I keep putting these big blobs on, let me just look through the rest of these little pieces. No, see, they get even bigger clusters. Nope. Does the bee work on this page? No, no, no. Anything else in here that I could use? Just flipping through the little pile. Look, we've got an orange doily. What's the story with this? What are they meant to be? Oops. I like this orange motif here. Hang on, let me just take this out, even if I don't use it. I like how it picks up. The next thing we do before I go and flip the page over and add doilies is I need to find fabrics that complement these 2 pages. Otherwise I'll end up whizzing through doiling everything and leaving the fabrics behind. We need some homework to stitch, don't we? I wonder if that front page, I just go and find heaps of different burnt yellows, layer up tiny little pieces in there, and then stitch into it lots of little daisies and French knots. And just thinking about that front cover again, I keep looking at that piece. Maybe the bee works there. The bee, that colour there is not working for me. Maybe I could look at putting a colour into that with the Inktense. I feel like that's a modern colour and he's traditional like this, but the wings aren't right. Just thinking about what colour I would make the wings. Okay, so get rid of a lot of that excess so that we see the true shape of this little piece. Sometimes it's the tiniest little snip out, but by letting the light in, it really helps with the detail of it. Like all of this here. And it means then that the tiniest embroideries, whether you do them yourself on some fabric and then fussy cut them out, or you come across some little embroideries, they're just the best. See what I mean by bringing a bit of orange in? I like that. I think that helps marry that page a bit, and I can drift this way a little bit with maybe some fabric. Let's get back to this. No, we need an orange, I think. following the lines of the dirt. Here we go. That there looks like dirt. Let's pull you out. Just to start getting a bit of texture on our piece. Yeah, like that. I feel like we need a bit of light. Ow! Really grab the pointy end of the scissors. It's not going to rip because that is modern quilt fabric. Just a bit of light there, so it's not so moody. That then allows me to bring some bits in over here potentially, just to connect it. And I need something there, I think. Same piece of fabric. I'm getting brave with this piece of fabric because when I was in that box and pulled this out, I saw another piece. So if I do want to use it on the front, I can. Let's slide you into there. What's on the other side? So we could bring that around, those little chickens. So let's pin it. Let's take it around so it peeks out here. If we don't like it, we can always cut it off. I've lost a flower. I think I'll find another one of those flowers as well. I feel like I need, sort of doesn't quite make sense because it's sort of sitting there, but I think what we need from this doily, oh, look at that crocheting. Is that our lacy element? Let's just trim that out. Make it a nice long piece. I've got now a box in my room where whenever I get a crocheted edge, I just sling it in there. Maybe I don't need another flower because this will create a bit of interest and make it feel like it was meant to be an orange flower there. Let's just see. I do like that. Just need to play with the placement. There's some great ink colour around the kitten's foot. So I think we want to go down and not cover his foot because once again, the foot of that kitten is telling a story too. It shows him peeking in, you know, and when you can see the foot, it looks bloomin' cute. Maybe it can go down. No, I liked it up. So this little morsel, I think, will come right through and potentially pop up. I hope I'm on camera enough for you guys. I like the back better. See, that's faded from being washed and that's bright. I'm going to flip it over. So we've made a little cluster here. I will go up. There we go. Oh, I like that. I like that. Pin it, quick, pin it before it falls. I don't think I'll find another flower because that's given me that extra bit of coral tone that makes that make sense. I like you over there. Do I like you there? Maybe it needs to be a tighter format. Just feels like it's overpowering it. Maybe. See, now that that happened, that looked like a big blob. So why don't we just put that little touch of fabric there. I'm going to reject him for now. Let's go back to When All Else Fails, Lace is Your Friend. Got a bit of tatting here. Colours look great. I'm going to nibble into there and take off those 3. We'll start with a big piece, 3, and then we'll see what it looks like, because it's possible that that goes round to the other side. So we do 2 here and 1 goes over, which definitely works with the chickens. I like the scallop look. Don't have a straight line. Let's have it swish. It naturally wants to do that by the feel of it because it was a circular doily. I'm going to nibble off those bits because they sort of feel like they're going nowhere. And then this on the other side with the chicken works. Yes. Now this. That to me feels better. I guess it's a case of the imagery on the print. If we're going to enhance it, we've sort of got to honour it by staying away from it. And if the page is heavy to the bottom and there's a lot of light up here, well then I probably need to take that into consideration with what I do as well. Hence why that flower to me felt really heavy. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's have a little look at the goats. Or do we leave the goats for another day? No, let's do it. What colours do we need? We need apricots, pinks. They're not really apricots. I really like that, but it's such a different aesthetic. That's like French General. Let's have another little rummage. That's too big of a print. Am I getting fussy? Maybe we just get some stripes. Nothing jumping out at me yet. Too bright. Just randomly pulling things. Do we look for a different colour? Just grabbed a mittful here. Oh, I don't mind that. Let's just explore this. Why did it jump out to me? Because of those. Let's, I don't know, might be a bit of a wild thought. I can hear my phone buzzing. Who possibly could want me on a Sunday? Not Saturday, it's Sunday. Oh, I like that. Yep. I like that. When it comes to the embroidery side of things, I can bring little stitches up through the back there that'll tie in this, and then these are bigger versions of that. I'm going to pin you down because I like that. And I like how we've gone from a real washed out tone to getting a bit of a punch back into it. Yep, I like that. Now, additional fabrics just as scrappy bits, which is what we seem to be doing. What are we going to do? We're going to go something like that. I don't mind that. Grungy dark tone. Just to add some texture, and I'm thinking in under there. Nope, don't like that. Nope, don't like that. What else have we got? Got to be something. That velvet's just come back into my hand. We ended up using the velvet, didn't we? Yep. Like, I feel like it's just perfect. Let's have a look at the velvet. Yeah, I like that. Just that little piece there. And you know what I could do is on that little piece of velvet stitch some of these little flowers. So drift them down into here. Yeah, where's my pen? So I would have the little red flowers coming down onto this and potentially drifting up in amongst those words. A couple little buds. Just to connect that to that, that to that. Oh yeah, I like that. Okay. Now with my pen, on that note, a bit of a sketch. What can we do here? I've got these little daisies. Maybe we bring in some of these. We can reproduce those. So some little satin stitched. I'm sure they won't be as beautiful as the lady before me on that embroidery. But I'm thinking we mimic it and do a little cluster again of some embroidered flowers, and then depending on how they turn out, some buds down there. Hope I'm in camera. Yep, that'll connect that and that. Might do a few over here to pick up those. All right, I think we've got a plan. Now let's go find the kittens. I think that's going to be okay because we've got this happening. And they are not in the strawberry patch. They're the flowers behind the strawberry patch. So I think I'm okay with that. And we've got a bit of feature lace. Yeah, I think we've got a plan, guys. All right, well, I'm going to finish the video here. That's given me plenty of homework and plenty of mess now to clean up. I'm going to finish that. So when I come back next week sometime, you'll see it, and then we'll tackle another page, and we're going to run out of January. So this will definitely merge into Feb, and then we'll start the next book, if not around the same time. Who knows? I don't know. Too many projects. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Have a great day, and hope you get some time for some stitching. See you in the next video. Bye.